Welcome back. The Nigeria Police Force says it has about 317,000 operatives operating nationally across the country. And even with this large number, one might want to say that this might be able to curtail the spread or the repeating occurrences of rituals. Ritual killing, I should say, talking about money ritual, sex assaulting, and every physical assault that comes with this. Now, people have blamed the increasing cases of ritual killing on the get-rich syndrome that perhaps that come from, say, movies, say, come from music that have been made in recent times. And one might want to wonder, there have always been music and movies from time immemorial, and ritual killings have always fostered. So why do we have to blame it on these mediums? However, we still want to have a conversation around it and see what exactly could the problem be. Dayo, we understand that we have a level of access to technology in this time and age that can basically do the simplest of tracking of devices to curtail this act. Someone does rituals and does a phone video and says, I'm just finishing this, and the person goes scot-free. There's no way of tracking that cell. I think we are underusing that medium, or should I say it is not the medium, it is perhaps the citizens themselves.
You see, I like putting things in a kind of a framework so I'm able to understand it totally. Like you said, there's always been music, always been movies, and always been intermingling of cultures. But we have not been looking at what has always been our value system. Societal value system. Acceptable societal behavioral patterns.
Okay. You might want to explain it briefly.
We have not been looking at all these things from that angle. Can you compare the music that Adekunle, whatever Adekunle, Fatai Rolling Dollars, Ebenezer Obey, and all of them used to sing in those days? Or the theater we go to, watch Ojojolu Theater, Late Jima Liu, and co. Do you want to compare to what we see these days? Whereby somebody will say, Otedola lórí méjì, èmi náà fẹ́ gun kíní kan. But do you know what Otedola has passed through before getting to that level? Or do you want to talk about some teachings that will say, when you give tithe or so much, you will receive so much? When I was coming, I gave a pastor a ride, and he was telling me that I was going to church to discuss with the youth. They are starting one program, youth whatever. I said, this youth whatever, have you been trying to let them understand the kind of change from our supposed value system to what we are having now? Whereby, look at the way you dress. You will see some other people, when they are coming on air, they look tattered, and they say, yes, it is. This is what is in vogue. You look at their clothes turned as if they just finished fighting, and on national television, you look at their hairdo and all that, highly unkempt, and who are you portraying yourself to the youth? And because they now see somebody appearing on television as a role model, they copy that. And then what are we getting for it? So even in schools.
So a brief of what you're saying is the mediums at which we pass information across have corrupted the minds of people basically over time.
But which started from relegating our value system. We are relegated our value system. We taught us that iṣẹ́ lóògùn ṣe múra sí iṣẹ́ ọ̀rẹ́ mi bí àkọ́kọ́ rẹ́ni fẹ̀yìntì bí ọ̀lẹ́ làárí bí àkọ́kọ́ rẹ́ fẹ́ tẹ̀lé àtẹ̀rámọ́ṣẹ́ ẹni. You know all those poems. Do we see recited these days?
Okay, now let me.
In those days I couldn't. Sorry, sir. In those days I couldn't stand where somebody is smoking. I would say, if my father should hear the smell of smoke or my DC, my father will disown me. Is this happening now? What are you see too? The father and the son sharing cigarette with each other, sharing shisha with each other.
Okay. I think I understand you quite well. But Ayo, do you think this perhaps, of course, what you said to an extent might be really an issue, moral value and system has decayed a lot. But do you think even in this decadence, there are still not people that will stand their heads up and say, I would not fall for the wrong things, regardless of things flying around? I remember my dad used to say something around that. I can't remember right now, but I mean, do we still not have morally cultured people that understands the place of good morals? That's my question.
Thank you very much. I've told you that I've just celebrated my 69th birthday. And it was a moment for sober reflection, thinking back where I came from, how my parents, brought me up, the schools I attended, and what values were inculcated into me. An issue of this nature, we have to do what we call root cause analytical approach.
Okay.
Where are the problems really coming from? Okay. My friend, answer this question. What is the quality of life of an average Nigerian now? When you wake up every morning, what are the stories that you see or get to hear about? Killings, and as if it's the normal thing. I have just, in my opinion, column, the one for this week is titled, "Where Have the Parents Gone?" The family unit has broken down totally. I was somebody that was brought up by a disciplinarian of a mother. You dare not do anything.
I remember there are still very stern-looking parents that have their grips.
What I'm saying,
their children totally go different routes.
Wait, so you will discover that Franco Olise, as at that time, NTA, this line said, time is 9 p.m. Do you know where your children are now? How many parents are there for their children to know what they do, where they stay, who they relate with? What is the function of government? Section 14, subsection 2B of the 1999 Constitution as amended clearly states that the primary purpose of government, number 1, is to guarantee security for every citizen. And 2, provide for our welfare. They have failed in those 2 aspects. And the results are what we are seeing now. And add that aspect that I mentioned when we were discussing the issue of, the fuel conundrum of what? Culture of impunity. During the military era, when some people, they line up those who have done the wrong thing, armed robbers, and they were shot. Whether you like it or you don't like it, psychologically it will send a sense of, horror. I will not want to do this again. If, for instance, there is a law that says that if a boy or a girl is caught, in the ritual murder, the father or the mother, the parents will be joined. In terms of the punishment that will be given, perhaps we know where we are going.
All right.
The value for human life in Nigeria has gone to the doldrums, and it's very painful. We don't value human life again.
Quite a sad situation.
Very, very sad.
Very unfortunate. However, we can't take more further comments on this. We're out of time. Let me quickly go through some of the messages we have just as we round up. The issue of adulterated petroleum products and other fuel-related problems are products of continued importation of refined products to Nigeria by some powerful Nigerians who do not want an end to that era. My take is that so long as government continues to show lack of political will to put an end to this ugly trend, refineries will never work, and Nigerian masses shall continue to suffer from this ill wind. Bolomade from Benin Kebi, that's a constant commentator on the show. Thanks for sending that in. Someone says, very pity and shame to our leaders from Ahmed Mohammed. I think I got that right. I don't know where you're sending that from. You didn't indicate. However, moving on, the Minister of Petroleum, who doubles as the President of Nigeria, has failed woefully, not taking charge, not taking responsibilities, always giving excuses, laying blames, and so on. Now, wow, God have mercy. Uche from Newi. Thanks for sending that in as well. Our leaders don't understand what good governance is. Simply put, good governance is the capacity of leaders to identify the needs of people, meeting those needs with available resources. What we have as leaders are people who are not sensitive to the needs of the masses. That's Ken from Surulere. The upsurge of ritual killings could be traceable to death of good role models among politicians, celebrities in Nigeria who worship money and wealth in this part of the world. Ken, also from Surulere. My brothers in the studio, I want to tell you that nothing will happen to those involved in adulteration of imported petroleum products because it's Nigeria. In Nigeria, is Nigeria because it's carried out by owners of the Nigerian country. So you said. And let me take this finally. Egbon ID from Abuja says, my take is the Minister of State for Petroleum, Managing Director and NPC should resign. Major marketers' licenses should be revoked for such a thing passing through their news unnoticed. All right, quite a lot of conversations there. Can't take all. However, we sincerely appreciate your comments. Thanks for dropping those on the show today. Thank you so much for also contributing, talking about political technocrat Dr. Dayo Kayode, member of Guild of Public Affairs Analysts of Nigeria. Thank you for coming on the show. It has always been a pleasure having you. We sincerely appreciate your presence again, once again. Also, thank you for coming, Mr. Ayobaje, President of the Guild of Public Affairs Analysts Nigeria Association. Thank you for coming. We sincerely appreciate it. And congratulations on your 69th birthday.